Welcome everyone to another episode of Follow the Light Music Review. My name is John De Laurentiis, and this is episode 16 in my series Album Review. And today we're going to be looking at the SERAIAH reissues. Okay, so not something brand new music-wise, but brand new in a reissue here. So I'm going to be doing an album review on the new reissue of SERAIAH's CARNIVAL WORLD and its companion, SERAIAH DEMOlish THIS, collection of demos that is on that. So before we get into that, I would like to encourage you to please subscribe to the channel, comment on this video after you've watched it, like the video, and make sure you ring the bell so that you're notified of new content when it gets added to the channel. Also, don't forget to check out the Facebook page for the channel, which has a lot of content on it as well, beyond just announcements for the videos that are coming on this channel. So check that out. All right, so let's talk about SERAIAH a little bit here. SERAIAH was formed in 1985 by Kyle Dietz and guitarist Quentin Gibson in Indiana. The band's name comes from a Hebrew word that means Yahweh is ruler or prince of the Lord, or as Easton's Bible Dictionary puts it, it means soldier of Jehovah. There are several people mentioned in the Old Testament, by the way, that were named SERAIAH. Obviously, drawing on the Easton's Bible Dictionary meaning of the name, the band released a demo cassette in 1988 called Soldier of Jehovah. This was one of those demo cassettes you would find advertised in magazines like Heaven's Metal and White Throne, when a lot of us sent away, I know myself included, for those early Christian metal band cassettes. The original demo was not intended to be released to the public until Doug Peterson of White Throne got a copy of it at a concert he attended. He ended up advertising it for the band after he reviewed it and said that it was available for $5. So when the band started getting a lot of orders coming in from all over the world, they sent out a letter for people to hold on a little bit as they were going to go into the studio and properly record these songs, and then they would send it out. So that original demo that Doug Peterson had was the raw demos that they did not want out there. So they went into the studio and properly recorded it, and then they sent it out. They pressed up 300 copies, and I think they all sold out. And they started getting some concerts together in the Midwest. And as a result of these two things, the band started getting some band recognition. All right, so they actually entered in a Battle of the Bands contest that was put on by Pure Metal Records, and the winner of this Battle of the Bands would get a contract with Pure Metal Records. All right, so the band, they practiced, they put together this phenomenal live show to really wow the judges of this contest here, and they ended up winning the Battle of the Bands, and they were offered a contract with Pure Metal Records. But their initial goal was to turn it down. Even if they wanted to win it, but they were going to turn it down. They wanted more control over who would produce their album, but Pure Metal basically told the band that, nope, it's going to be according to how our terms are. You're going to record it at Grand Slam Studios, which is in my state, New Jersey, and it's going to be with the producer that they chose, the label chose. So who was the producer it turned out to be Jim Erdman of the band Exalt, who had just finished up the Under the Ruins album that they had put out. So they were going to turn it down. I think they were advised by another band member, may have been Bride, may have been Dale and Troy Thompson, telling them you better sign the contract with Pure Metal because you know they're going to pay for it. It's going to get out there, and if you keep holding out for something else or for a larger label, you know, maybe it would not get released. So they did go ahead, and in 1990, the band's first full-length album, Carnival World, was released on Pure Metal Records. However, as a lot of us know, we're very thankful for Pure Metal Records and bringing a lot of these bands that we know and love today into the spotlight, a lot of those early pure metal releases were not the best production, not the best packaging. And this particular album had a kind of a subpar mix done to it. And the problem came with that when the band was told that they had to finish mixing the album because the power of the studio was going to be turned off that night. All right, so it's kind of a rush job, not thought out for a very long period of time. And as a result, that's why, or it's one of the main reasons why this album never sounded quite the way it should have, because the mix was just not that great. It wasn't helped either by the cheesy album cover that was given it. However, the band was basically given charge to put it together themselves. The photo that ended up on the front cover of the album was not one from a photo shoot that they had done with some other pictures that they hoped would be used. It was not. So that cheesy album cover, although it has a certain kind of a charm. I mean, I look at it and it's like, it's typical of that era, and it doesn't bother me that much. That cover necessarily wouldn't turn me off from the album, but I know that I really didn't pay too much attention to SERAIAH at that point, and I didn't really start listening to them until their second self-titled album came out. And by the time that album came out, they had moved away from that heavy metal sound and had moved into a more polished commercial hard rock sound at that point. So after that second self-titled album came out, which, by the way, was released in 1992 by Starsong Records. Starsong Records ended up buying out or taking over the catalog of pure metal music, and so they took all those artists under the wing. And Starsong was a much bigger and more reputable in terms of size and more quality in terms of what they could offer as a label. And now that whole catalog of Starsong, I believe, now is owned by, I think, Capital Christian Music now is where the rights for all of that belong right now. But after that second album, the band unfortunately came to an end, but two of its members, at least, went on to different places. Guitarist Quentin Gibson would go on to play for White Cross in 1996 and 1997, and he appeared on the 1996 album Flytrap, and then he ended up touring with Petra from 2001 to 2003 during their revival. Remember, that was Petra's third praise and worship album. He was on their tour for that album. And then after Petra, he was in a rock band called Strange Celebrity, which released an album called Remedy. And that was released on Squint Entertainment in 2003. Currently, Quentin is the lead guitarist for platinum-selling country artist Darius Rucker. And so that's where he currently is here. So he had quite of a musical journey there from those early SERAIAH days in the metal world when they first began. Drummer Kyle Dietz was a part of the grunge band Stir, who released an album called Broken Tongues in 1998. And I think that is one of the bands that I interviewed for Heaven's Metal magazine at the time. So very kind of grungy type album, really good. If you haven't never heard Stir Broken Tongues, I would recommend finding it. You can find a used copy on eBay, Discogs, and other places here. It's worth checking out. A lot of the grunge albums, of course, grunge kind of took metal, kind of a metal heaviness to it, and then ended up like stripping it of guitar solos is one of the main things that grunge did, which, well, of course, I was not a fan of because I've always been a fan of lead guitar solos. But that grunge album by Stir, I really enjoyed that one, called Broken Tongues. The other band members were Bradley Becky on lead and background vocals, and Michael McClung on bass. Now, Michael McClung left the band after the first album because he did not really like the musical direction the band was heading into. He was more of a metal guy. They were going toward more the commercial hard rock sound. So he was replaced by Tracy Ferry, and you probably know that name. You've heard that name. Well, Tracy Ferry, of course, would go on to be a member of Stryper on their Reborn and Murder by Pride albums. Of course, when Stryper Reborn was like kind of the entryway into the second half of Stryper's career after they had been disbanded for a number of years. And then he was also a member of the iconic classic rock band Boston. And he also appeared on the White Cross album Unveiled from 1994. Now, over 25 years later, Stephen Craig, owner of Aeonian Records, who was a fan of SERAIAH when he was in high school, he has now released a newly remixed and remastered upgrade of the debut album, as well as this additional CD called DEMOlish THIS, with the DEMO in caps, to emphasize that it's a collection of demos. It fortunately includes the original 4-song demo cassette, Soldiers of Jehovah, as well as 6 more rare tracks. So this project was a labor of love, begun about 2 years ago, and the cover features new artwork as well. So they kind of got rid of that cheesy album cover and went to a brand new album cover, which we'll look at in a minute. And packaging is fantastic as well. So we're going to take a minute now before I go into all the songs on Carnival World, and then also talk about the demo CD. We'll take a look at these releases. So again, Aeonian Records, and you can probably find this on other websites. I believe Boone's Overstock is now selling copies of this as well. But this is the updated Carnival World album cover that they chose. Picture of the band in the back. And when we open it up, this is just not a small booklet. This is a 34-page booklet, which makes for great reading in here, because there's an essay in here that's written by Artie Parker called The Road to Redemption. And it really goes into very minute details about the whole band SERAIAH and their whole journey, with lots and lots of pictures and memorabilia in here. There's a picture of the Soldier of Jehovah cassette, some pictures of them, one on them, White Throne magazine. There's the White Metal Invasion cassette we'll talk about in a little bit, and just a lot of great memorabilia here. It continues. You can see this is a very lengthy, even puts the album references here, like here's Exalts Under the Ruins, which was the album that came out with Jim Erdman, who ended up being the producer of their first album. There's a picture of the original cover of the album. And there's a promo picture in here, some more great memorabilia here and pictures. And then you get this nice collage of photos in the middle. More story, more memorabilia. Continues. More album or more magazine covers. We have a Heaven's Metal here. We have White Throne here, and we have Note Board, or Not Board, with the E kind of shaded out there. Some more information here. CCM magazine and some charting here. Again, beautiful booklet. And then all the lyrics, of course, that's always nice to have. And finally, more pictures, some thank yous here, and then band credits and other credits for the album here. So really well done. Here's what the disc face looks like. So really fantastic looking. And I'm going to talk about the DEMOlish THIS one after this here, but I wanted to spend some time with this album, Carnival World. An album, like I said, I really never, if I had it on its original cassette version. I don't have it anymore, if I did have it, and I don't remember much about it. So really, this is kind of new to me, even though this album came out so long ago. It's kind of a new discovery for me, because like I said, I did not have the Carnival World cassette, or if I had the Carnival World cassette, I don't have it anymore. So I don't recall whether I did. I know for a fact I never had the Soldier of Jehovah cassette. I sent away for a lot of those heavy metal cassettes from those bands, but that was not one of them that I got. So let's look at this album, Carnival World, and also, how it sounds now. Remember, this was remixed and remastered, and the remastering person was Rob Caldwell, who does pretty much all of the remastering for the Girder label, for Rox Records, and for Retroactive, for No Life to Metal, for Brutal Planet, and also he's the remaster engineer for Aeonian Records as well. So good choice here. Rob's done a great job here. So let's talk about this album. So Carnival World is the opening track, title track. It opens up with some dialogue from a circus, and then the song soon after surges into its raw guitar riffing. The new mix makes the bass and the drums have more clarity. The guitar still kind of sounds very trebly. It's kind of treble heavy, but I guess that was the sound they had in the very beginning. It kind of reminds me and is akin to those 1980s metal demo cassettes where you had that kind of maybe more trebly or kind of thin sounding guitar sound. That's what that opening track sounds like. But the song itself features some nice harmonies, some good guitar soloing from Quinton, and lyrically the song uses the carnival as a metaphor for deception and trickery and points the way out of it through Christ's victory. So that's the opening track. Now the next track does not really have that guitar, that kind of thin trebly guitar sound. So like I said, I think that was used for that particular track there. So it might throw you off a little bit of back that it's not really sounding as good as it should, but it really is a lot more depth to the album is coming out in this remix and this remaster here. So the next track on the album is a song called Devastating Daydream, and this is definitely one of the best songs in the album. It opens with a sawing guitar riff, propulsive drumming, solid bass line. Quinton shows off his lead guitar solos skills here, and the band prove that they are well-practiced musicians. This band was a band that practiced, and you can tell that they were very proficient with their musicianship. The message of the song here is anti-suicide, offering God's redemption as the solution, and this song charted at number 8 on the CCM Update Metal charts. The next one is called Hear Their Cry. This song opens with an acoustic guitar intro that sets the stage for a faded in kind of juggernaut of a guitar riff here as Bradley sings powerfully an anti-abortion message here, singing, "You hear their cry, you can't deny that murder's taking place," and then offers Jesus Christ as the answer. He's going to set you free. The bass and the drums here add a power-packed punch as the rhythm section here. And again, that's one of the things I think you're going to notice if you're familiar with the original recording of Carnival World. If you own the original cassette and CD of it, you can do a comparison between the two. But I think what you're going to really see here is you really have the bass and the drums, the rhythm section on this album bolstered and with more clarity, and you can actually hear them in the mix with this new remix here. The next song is called The Nature of Things. This opens with a fast drum intro and an overdrive drenched guitar riff that provides kind of a slicing feel to the song as the lyrics pull no punches in its message against same-sex attraction, proclaiming that that's not the way God meant it to be. This song, as all the rest do, have scriptures listed right at the end of the lyrics to back up the content of what they're singing about. No More Tears to Cry, next song. This song slows down the album for a beautiful ballad. It's a bit reminiscent of the acoustic flavor that Led Zeppelin used on their third album. Bradley has some of his most passionate vocals on this song, and the song builds up in a crescendo of rhythmic vocal harmonies and features an emotional guitar solo from Quinton here. The song here is a testimony to the saving power of Jesus, which wipes away the tears. No more tears to cry, because when you found me, I had no more tears to cry. This is followed by a song called Rise Up. This is another highlight of the album. Kyle opens the song with some pounding drums before the sledgehammer riffs cut into the song. And then it then breaks down into a quieter section before it screeches back into the main riff. The bass line here serves as a nice pulsing backbone to the song. And here, Bradley sings about child abuse, teenage drug overdoses, incest, and custody issues. So if you've noticed a trend in these lyrics, this is a band that did not shy away from controversial issues as they continually offer Jesus as the answer to the results of a fallen world. This song charted at number 2 on the CCM Update Metal charts. So probably the most well-known song from this album as a result. The next song is called You Know. This is another song that opens with Kyle's drums before a Van Halen-inspired riff charges in. The vocals with their harmonies in the chorus remind one of the glam metal anthems of the they remind people of the glam metal anthems of the 1980s. You know a lot of that. Of course, MTV brought a lot of that glam metal to the forefront there. So, and there were a lot of those kind of glam metal anthemic songs that you can, probably think of at least a few of those you remember from that time period. The song's bass again is clearly heard here in this remix, which again, like I said before, has brought an overall clarity to the album as a whole. A slowdown in the song around the 3-minute mark brings in a nice acoustic guitar part before it charges back into its infectious chorus, which says, "You know he'll never leave you. You know he'll never forsake you." Of course, bringing in that scripture, he'll never leave you or forsake you. Next song is called Helpless Without You. This begins with some melodious acoustic guitar and a nice guitar solo fill. And then the song, again, benefits from the remix in making Kyle's drums more prominent, as well as the bass lines. Bradley's vocals shine here. And the song has a catchy chorus as it talks about being helpless without God, as other gods have taken his rightful place. Quentin offers another standout lead guitar solo here. Next song after this is called Let Him Take Control. This is another song. This is a beautiful song here, another highlight here that harkens back to that Led Zeppelin 3 acoustic sound, even more so than the other one I mentioned. It opens up with Quentin playing the mandolin here, and Bradley even sounds a lot like Robert Plant in part of his vocals here in the beginning. The song acts as a type of altar call type song that encourages people to let the Lord take your hand, let him guide your time, and again, Jesus, let him take control. Again, standout track on this album. Then the album ends with the song Fallen Heart. This song ends it ends the album with a motorized metal onslaught featuring a lengthier intro that features some fast pounding drums acting with the riffs of Quentin here. It is a quick-paced tome about a person who has fallen away from his faith. You've fallen, separating from Christ, fallen heart, completely turning away. This song features a bit of speed metal guitar soloing toward the end, and it really kind of ends the album in a whirlwind. So that's the album proper of Carnival World. Again, if you were familiar with this album from its original release and you want to hear it like you've never heard it before, get this new remixed and remastered version, and you won't be disappointed. It's definitely better. If you still think it's not absolutely, fantastic in sound, well, it does go back to the source. That's how it was produced. But I'm telling you, the remix and master has really improved upon this album and its sound 1,000%. Now, there are 6 bonus tracks that are added here. They are live tracks taken from a concert that was held at Crosswell Wesleyan Church in Crosswell, Michigan. It was recorded December 31st, 1991. So at this point, Tracy Ferry was now in the band as the bassist, and all the live tracks are songs that would appear on their self-titled second album, released on Star Song in 1992, except for Let Him Take Control. That particular song was the only one that ended up appearing earlier. So they show the band's new sound, more akin to commercial hard rock, again, away from that heavy metal stylings of the debut. It showcases just how good a live band they were, and they make for a very nice addition to the album. In fact, one of the songs that I think was a standout track in that second album was a song called New Kind of Voodoo, and that's on here. And then there's an extended Quentin guitar solo that goes on for a long period of time, so really, really good addition. These live tracks sound great. And again, showing once again how the band was moving away from the metal sound. But again, you're going to enjoy those songs. Great musicianship on that. All right, so that is the Carnival World reissue. So let's talk about and look at the companion CD. If you ordered that, this is one that came with it. Or came as an additional add-on if you wanted to purchase this. Demolish This, and you can see the demo highlighted here in caps here. And it says in the bottom, rare, rough, and unreleased. So when I put this into my CD player, I'm expecting this to sound really bad. You know, these are demos, they're rough, they're rare. They sound much better than I thought they were going to sound. So again, kudos to Rob Caldwell in the remastering here, because these are the best these songs have ever sounded here. So let's look at this again. Pictures of the band, and again, 10 songs here. A nice booklet again, which has some pictures here of the band, more memorabilia in here. Another nice collage here in the middle, and then the Soldier of Jehovah is mentioned here, and then some handwritten lyrics that are in here, and then a little bit of notes on the songs here, talking about it. Yeah, and it's saying it says, one of the things it says here, nearly 40 years ago, many of you ordered a collection of songs captured on a crude cassette tape. Reading a review in White Throne magazine and or Heaven's Medal from all over the world, you listened, wrote letters, and came out to our shows. We have never forgotten that. All right, and then they talk about where these songs were recorded. They're in here as well. That's the face here. So again, the real draw for this release is that it contains the 4 tracks that were on that original cassette, Soldier of Jehovah, sounding better than ever before. And that was a different lead vocalist here. That was David McClung on lead vocals here, also a great vocalist, and Michael McClung on bass, along with Quentin and Kyle. The cassette of Soldiers of Jehovah, look it up. I looked it up just today, the day that I'm recording this video, and it's on sale for Discogs for $90 and on eBay for over $80. So that cassette fetching a lot. Now you have it, sounding better than ever. On here is the first 4 tracks on here, and if you listen to the rest of it, you get some more historical recordings here. 2 more tracks with this lineup I just mentioned are added here that were recorded in 1988. And then there are 4 more earlier tracks with Mike Belt on bass dating from 1987. So that's like the original, the most original, or the farthest back band members that were with the band, with Mike Belt on bass. So they're on here as well, with 4 more earlier tracks from that time. So all those songs show the development of the band's sound. And again, like I said before, with the remaster, they sound the best they possibly can. Like I said, I was not expecting much. I was getting it for historical purposes and was not expecting much, but was pleasantly surprised at how well they sound for demos with the new remaster. So some of the songs that are on here, I'll spotlight here. Some of the interesting songs that are on here. One of the songs on here that is really a standout is a song called Known in Hell from that original demo that sounds like what AC/DC would sound like if they became Christians. Vocals here are even styled in that kind of AC/DC sound. Another standout track is Why, a track with a very catchy chorus. And the anthemic Come On, Get Up actually first appeared on the cassette White Metal Invasion. All right, and that was a compilation put together by Stephen Craig when he was in high school. And he was doing it to help raise funds for White Throne magazine so that they could purchase a new computer and printer. So how about that, White Throne? White Throne was actually one of the magazines I freelanced for in terms of reviews. I did some reviews for that magazine back in the day. There's also the original demo version of Whatever Happened to Your Love, which appeared on the self-titled second album. So if you're a fan of this band, DEMOlish This is a recommended purchase. I, for one, am glad to have it, to hear these tracks for the first time, as I never had that original demo cassette. And of course, the other tracks, the other 6 tracks on here are a treat to see the evolution of this band from its very earliest time. So I just have to say kudos to Stephen Craig, the band, and all involved to help bring these 2 archival releases into print. It shows a dedication that all reissues should have, as these releases have been in the works, like I said, for the past 2 years, to help them make them happen. Stephen Craig had a vision for this, and it's come to fruition in 2026. And I can say unreservedly that at the end of the year, when I do my best reissues of 2026, I'm sure this dual CD set will make the list at that time. So my overall ratings, as my album reviews, I always give you a rating out of 5 stars. So I'm going to rate Carnival World, and this is in terms of the music itself. This is not a rating for the packaging. The packaging for these two, 5 stars. They did a great job. But music-wise, in terms of the songs, I'm going to give Carnival World a 3.5 stars out of 5, and DEMOlish THIS, I'm going to give a solid 3 stars out of 5 here. So again, if you're one of those collectors of early Christian heavy metal, these are great releases. These two are a great and welcome addition to the reissue of this classic period of time in Christian heavy metal. So what do you think? If you own these two, what is your opinion? What did you think about them? What were your reactions? I have to say, with Carnival World, when I first popped it on, it was, like I said, new to me. It didn't grab me right away, and the production was not grabbing me right away. But the more I listened to it and really gave it a really thorough listen multiple times, the songs grew on me, and the production, I realized that this is the best it's going to sound with this remix and remaster. So again, let me know in the comments what you think. So as always, I would like to encourage you to follow the light that shines out in the darkness. God bless everyone.